played a major role in the Special Investigating Unit, where once again he supervised the investigation of illegal drug activity and other crimes which led to numerous arrests and convictions for illegal activity in the violation of drug laws. And whereas he took his specialty assignments of various kinds very seriously, including field training officer, supervisor, hostage negotiation team, fatality accident supervisor, motor unit supervisor, and sought advanced training in many other areas and more. And therefore I, Matt Dukes, Mayor of Midwest City, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, March 14th as William Horn Day. I'm going to get rid of this thing. Rin and shake. Let's give him a round of applause. Sam, I hope you have some successes in this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move into the consent agenda of our agenda this evening. These items are placed on the consent agenda so the City Council, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any one item does not meet with the approval of all council members or members of the audience wish to discuss an item, that item will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda.
First discussion item is PC 1894, public hearing with discussion consideration of an ordinance to redistrict from R6 single-family detached residential to SPUD, Simplified Plan Unit Development, for the property described as Lot 36 of Block 3 of the Har Julian replat located at 401 West Douglas Drive. The applicant, Mr. Mudd, has had a family emergency and has requested this item be continued to the next City Council, which will be on March 28th.
Move to continue to March 28th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is discussion consideration of a public hearing to provide information and answer questions pursuant to Title 62, Section 859 of the Oklahoma statutes regarding the establishment of Increment District Number 2, City of Midwest City, Oklahoma, and regarding a request by Sooner Investment, Sooner, for development financing assistance in connection with Sooner's proposal to expand the Sooner Row Shopping Center to include approximately 160,000 square feet of restaurant, entertainment, and retail space, and regarding a request by Warren Theaters, LLC, Warren Theaters, for development financing assistance in connection with Warren Theaters' proposal to develop, construct, and operate a 10-screen movie theater with the Sooner Row Shopping Center. There will be a presentation by Mr. Dan McMahon representing the City of Midwest City regarding this project and the public hearing. Mr. McMahon.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the council, public, good evening. My name is Dan McMahon. It's my privilege tonight to provide information to the public on behalf of the City of Midwest City regarding a proposal to establish a tax increment district within the city. This public hearing is being held pursuant to Section 859 of the Local Development Act, found in Title 62 of the Oklahoma statutes. On March 28th, the City Council will be considering the adoption of an ordinance which would formally establish Increment District Number 2, City of Midwest City, Oklahoma, and also approve the terms and conditions of a project plan relating to an important economic development project within the City of Midwest City. Prior to the adoption of such an ordinance, Oklahoma law requires that the city hold 2 public hearings relating to this matter. This is the first of these 2 public hearings. As stated by Section 859 of the Local Development Act, the purpose of this public hearing is to provide information to the public regarding the proposed ordinance, adopting the project plan, and the related tax increment district, and to respond to questions that anyone may have regarding this proposal. The purpose of the second public hearing will be to receive comments from the public regarding the ordinance and the proposed tax increment district. This second public hearing will be held in this room on March 28th, 2017 at 7:00 p.m. as part of that night's regular City Council meeting. The ordinance being considered would approve the terms and conditions of a project plan relating to Increment District Number 2, City of Midwest City, Oklahoma, and would create a tax increment district within the corporate boundaries of the city. Under Oklahoma law, a tax increment district is a special type of district in which certain incremental tax revenues are used to pay for project costs which benefit the district, or in the alternative, to pay principal and interest on any indebtedness which has been incurred for the purpose of paying such costs. Once these costs or the related indebtedness have been paid, then these incremental tax revenues flow back to the original taxing jurisdictions. The district being proposed by the city would be officially known as Increment District Number 2, City of Midwest City, Oklahoma, and it would be comprised of a tract of land located immediately adjacent to the east side of the existing Sooner Rose Shopping Center in the northeast corner of the intersection of Sooner Road and Southeast 15th Street in Midwest City. The district would be bounded on the north side by Southeast 12th Street, on the east side by Crosby Boulevard, and on the west side by Sooner Road, excepting the tracts on which the Hobby Lobby and Academy Sports stores are located. The proposed district would be bounded by Will Rogers Road on the south side except for the Home Depot tract and those tracts adjacent to the west side of the Home Depot site. Under the terms of the project plan relating to this district, the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority would be authorized to incur indebtedness and to use a portion of the proceeds from such debt to provide development financing assistance to 2 private companies. The first company, Sooner Investment Group, Inc., would receive development financing assistance in the amount of $5,025,384 for the construction of a mixed-use commercial development consisting of approximately 55,000 square feet of retail and service industry space and 56,000 square feet of food service space. Of that amount, however, only $3,725,034 would be made available through the tax increment district. The second company, Warren Theaters, LLC, would receive $11,031,900 in development financing assistance to defray the costs of the construction and development of a 50,000 to 65,000 square foot movie theater building consisting of a minimum of 10 screens and utilizing state-of-the-art projection and sound technology. All such development financing assistance to Warren Theaters will be funded through the proposed tax increment district. Under the ordinance, all incremental or new ad valorem revenues, along with a portion of the new or incremental sales and use tax revenues, will be separated from other tax revenues and used to pay principal and interest on tax apportionment bonds or notes, the proceeds of which will be used to finance the costs of 1, providing development financing assistance to the 2 companies mentioned earlier, 2, capitalizing a portion of the interest accrued during the first 2 years on the tax apportionment bonds or notes, and 3, paying costs of issuance on the bonds and organizational costs associated with establishing the district. The proposed district would have a maximum date of 20 years from its effective date. After 20 years, the district will terminate whether or not all project costs have been recouped through incremental taxes, unless the term of the district is extended by action of a future city council. However, the district may terminate earlier than that date under 2 circumstances. First, if the principal and interest on all tax apportionment bonds or notes are paid off earlier than expected, then the district will automatically terminate. Second, if the citizens of the city vote to terminate the district prior to its scheduled termination date, as the result of a vote held pursuant to the initiative and referendum powers set forth in the Oklahoma Constitution, then this district may terminate sooner than the 20-year anniversary date provided for in the project plan. As previously mentioned, the proposed ordinance would also authorize the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority to issue a special type of revenue bond or note known as a tax apportionment bond or note. A tax apportionment bond or note is one which is payable solely from incremental tax revenues generated within the district. In this regard, the proposed ordinance will also specify, one, that the issuance of any tax apportionment bond or note does not give rise to a charge against the general credit or taxing powers of the City of Midwest City or Oklahoma County, or constitute a claim on the revenues or resources of the state of Oklahoma. And two, that such bond or note is a special limited obligation of the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority, payable solely from the income, revenues, and receipts derived or to be derived from the proceeds of certain tax increments paid over to the authority and the funds and accounts held pursuant to the terms of any trust indenture or loan agreement authorizing the issuance of such bonds or notes. The proposed ordinance would also grant to the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority the right to irrevocably pledge these incremental revenues to the payment of any tax apportionment bonds or notes, or any other types of revenue bonds issued pursuant to the terms of the project plan. There are many positive potential impacts which may result from the approval of the ordinance and the adoption of the project plan. First, the development financing assistance will induce the two companies to invest approximately $60 million in the Sooner Rose project, and this investment will create a significant number of temporary jobs in the construction-related industries. Second, the city estimates that approximately 300 full and part-time jobs will be created within the increment district once construction of all the project facilities is complete. Third, this new investment by these two companies will give rise to new ad valorem, sales, and use tax revenues from within the proposed tax increment district. The project plan estimates that approximately $17 million in new ad valorem taxes will be generated during the 20-year term of the district. And when the district expires, these new revenues will benefit the ad valorem taxing entities. The plan also forecasts approximately $49 million in new municipal sales and use taxes being generated within the same period, with only a portion of those new revenues being captured to pay project costs of the district. This means significant new sales and use tax revenues for the city of Midwest City in the early years of the district, and with still more revenues for the city when the district expires. The use of tax increment financing in this fashion also has several additional advantages. First, no new tax dollars which are now being received by any taxing jurisdiction will be utilized to pay for any of the proposed project costs or principal or interest on the tax apportionment bonds or notes. Only increases in ad valorem, sales, and use tax revenues generated within the boundaries of the district will go towards the payment of these costs. Second, the creation of this tax increment district will not cause an increase in tax rates for existing ad valorem, sales, and use taxes levied within the district. And third, there will be no new types of taxes imposed as a part of this plan. In short, the only tax revenues which will be impacted by this ordinance and the related project plan are those tax revenues that result from the new private investment occurring within the proposed tax increment district. However, the use of tax increment financing does also have two potential negative impacts. First, if it is the case that significant private investment will be made within the boundaries of the district in the next few years without the need for any development financing assistance. Then the incremental tax revenues generated from that private investment might have occurred anyway. If that were the case, the use of a tax increment district would result in the ad valorem taxing entities foregoing much needed tax revenues. Of course, this project has been evaluated by the Midwest City Local Development Act Review Committee, as is required by the Local Development Act. And when this issue was discussed with the members of the Review Committee, the committee unanimously concluded that the proposed private investments would not have occurred without the development financing assistance contained in the project plan, and therefore there would be no significant adverse financial impact for the ad valorem taxing entities. The second potential negative impact would be that if the increment revenues generated from within the tax increment district were not sufficient to pay principal and interest on the tax apportionment notes or bonds as they come due, then the bondholders or lenders would potentially lose all or a portion of their investment in the notes or bonds. However, the review committee has projected that the revenues will be sufficient to pay the tax apportionment bonds or notes within the expected term of the district. At this time, Mayor, I'd be happy to try and answer questions that anyone may have regarding the proposed tax increment district.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon. Does anyone from the audience have any questions or comments? Council, do you have any questions of Mr. McMahon? Thank you very much for your presentation, sir.
If there are no more questions, then this first public hearing will be concluded. Please be advised that the second public hearing required by Section 859 of the Local Development Act will be held during the March 28th regular meeting of the Midwest City Council, which meeting is now scheduled to begin at 7 o'clock p.m. with the public hearing to be held at that time or soon thereafter. At this second public hearing, any person who would like to speak regarding the proposed tax increment district or proposed ordinance will be given a chance to do so.
Thank you very much, sir. The next discussion item.
Item 3 is discussion consideration of appointing a replacement on the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Turner Mann. We request that this item be continued till March 28th. Yes.
Have a motion and a second to continue. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Next item is discussion consideration of reappointing Ms. Margie Humdy and appointing a replacement for Mr. Glenn Goldschlager for three-year terms to the Midwest City Tree Board. I believe that the council can make a motion to reappoint Ms. Humdy and to continue the appointment of Mr. Glenn Goldschlager's replacement to the March 28th meeting.
Motion to approve Ms. Margie Humdy for reappointment for a three-year term, and a motion to continue the replacement of Mr. Glenn Goldschlager till the March 28th meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next discussion item.
Next discussion item is an addendum. Discussion consideration of approving and passing an emergency ordinance amending Midwest City Municipal Code, Chapter 9, Buildings and Building Regulations by amending Article 7, Sign Regulations, Section 9-391, temporary signs by the addition of an exemption for temporary signs when access to property is restricted by public construction projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. You got it.
And you need
We can do the emergency.
motion for emergency.
I need a motion for the emergency.
Move to approve the emergency clause.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Oh,
To be announced. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention, motion carries. Thank you very much. Any new business or public discussion? Anyone in the audience have anything to bring before the council? Hearing none, this meeting of the council is adjourned.
Do you have further information? Is there a deal for the Chopper Street?
That was just further information. We're going to have to vote on it for now.
I call to order the Midwest City Municipal Authority. We do have a consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda so the trustees, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any one item does not meet with the approval of all trustees or members of the audience wish to discuss an item, that item will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Ladies and gentlemen, this is, we move into the business and new business and public discussion of this agenda. Anyone have anything to bring before the municipal authority of the city of Midwest City? Hearing none, I declare this meeting adjourned. We call to order the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority. We have two discussion items.
First item is the minutes of the regular meeting from February 28th.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Next item?
Next item is discussion consideration of accepting the hospital authority's investment performance review for the period ending December 31, 2016, and action to reallocate assets, change fund managers, or make changes in the statement of investment policy guidelines and objectives. You have the report before you, so a motion to accept the report, and no action is necessary at this time on reallocating.
Move to accept the report.
second.
I have a motion to accept the report in a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new business public discussion of this agenda. Anyone have any items they wish to bring before the municipal authority or the hospital authority? Hearing none, we have an executive session.
This is discussion consideration of one entering into executive session as allowed under 25 OS Section 307C10 to confer on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property, financing, or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to remain or to locate within the city, and two, in open session, authorizing action as appropriate based upon the discussion in executive session.
Move to go to executive session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're now in executive session.
We're going up, or are we going to go up? I mean, since that's, okay.